You know that feeling when someone shows up for you just when you need it most? That's what Uber is all about. Not just a ride or dinner at your door. It's how Uber helps you show up for the moments that matter. Because showing up can turn a tough day around or make a good one even better. Whatever it is, big or small, Uber is on the way. So you can be on yours. Uber, on our way.
We knew that, right? That was consistent with some of the stats we see. And that's what I love about what we do now, because we're finding and connecting dots on different stats and different things that are going on. Welcome back, folks. We're up to episode 66. We're talking about spending habits through the years. This always cuts off the title.
Then and
now. Spending habits then and now. But before that, what's up, Walt?
What's up with you, man? Nothing much. Just stay committed to this fitness challenge and everything. We recently found another bill personally for our business that you called out that we still had going, Transistor.
Oh, yes.
And I thought we had canceled that and found out that, oh, nope.
Yeah.
Paying that $20 or whatever it was.
No, but it was only one more month from the time that we
but still
said, of course. No, it's a good catch, but it wasn't like months going by. But that it's a great example of why you need to look at your statements.
Yeah.
Look at your accounts, right? We used to get, when you become victims of cyber crime and fraud, one of the ways that they've hit us in the past is a little $1 debit, a little $10 debit. Like they keep going up until you notice. Right.
Same thing happened with me in PayPal.
Right. We noticed it right away and we're like, whoa, what's that? Fraud, boom. We've had to change our cards so many times because but we're on it. We're on it and we catch it right away. We're diligent about looking at our statements and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just, it's a whole job now because of everything's digital.
Yes.
It's less, right? It's not cash. It's so easy to you charge $1 here, charge $1 there.
Yeah.
That's what the hackers are depending on. They're depending on that you do it so much, you're not paying attention to the little dollars.
What was that one episode that we did? I don't know if it was IAYP or IAP, but it was talking about that hackers use software as a service. They have a software as a service model.
Yes, they absolutely do. And now with AI, are you kidding me?
Crazy.
There are millions. Yeah. Just be careful, folks. Stay on top of your look, this is if you want to get ahead. Look at that. Walt just sent me a post earlier, a news about like how Gen Z is talking about, right? They need to make $500,000 a year to get ahead.
That's so interesting because if you look at my article, my news, it's talking about Gen Z
savings. Yep. So, if you are in a place where you're trying to get ahead, you're trying to save dollars, you're trying to be diligent and frugal and like budget and all these things, part of that is looking at where you're spending your money. That's what you got to start with, right? I'm working with a CFP, a certified financial planner, and that's the first thing you did. Get a handle of what you're spending and then come back to me. And I was like, okay, no doubt.
Yeah, bro, it's a lot. And I know some of those same people were saying it. It's a perfect segue into
your article.
To my article. Yeah. People on that post that I sent you were saying like they don't have the money to save, right? They would like to save, but they don't have the money to save, right? And look, this might be why, right? Because the article,
go ahead.
It says that Gen Z is doom spending, not saving.
Oh, what's doom? I know what doom spend. How do they talk about it?
Yes. So basically, because of the condition of the world and where everything is going on, it's basically the practice. Doom spending is the practice of spending money impulsively, like on non-essential items.
Oh, that's not what I thought it was.
As a way to cope with stress, anxiety, or feeling like you're helpless for the future.
That's shopping as a therapy or something.
Maybe, yeah, but
that's YOLO.
Yeah, basically
YOLO spending, basically.
Yeah, and it's saying that's what this article is saying. It's talking about a lot because with the U.S. facing a lot of political turmoil, economic uncertainty, social media addiction, that it said it's no surprise that Gen Z is doom spending. Right, and they're not the only ones, but they're saying they're a big proponent of them. 47% are doom spending, and 47% of Gen Z respondents that responded to this survey by Fortune.com said that they do not have an emergency fund. It's almost
We knew that, right? That was consistent with some of the stats we see. And that's what I love about what we do now, because
Mhm,
we're finding and connecting dots on different stats and
mhm,
different things that are going on. Yeah, man. Damn.
yep,
Yeah. So again, like, if you are trying to get a handle of it all and want to get
mhm,
a handle on it, like, this is part of it, is you got to see where you're at right now. You have
yeah,
to look back at the last 3 months of spending. And it's easier these days because we spend mostly digitally. There's places that I know that don't even take cash anymore. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Right?
It
And
still
it's,
think they
whoa,
only take cash.
that no, but those play. Look, I got years ago. I knew a restaurant owner, and at the time, we had a friend that was opening a restaurant, and we had brought him to this person to get advice. And he said, "Look, best thing I can tell you right now is cash only for the first year."
Wow.
Yep, because
All of the
the
fees.
the fees and the lead time on at that time, this was, years ago. I don't know if it's changed at all, but
Yeah.
it took time to get that money back. You don't
Yep.
get it right away, and then the fees. Yeah, it's a different world, and as we segue into then and now, right?
Yeah,
But
that's
before
perfect.
that, let's pay the bills. Hey, look, if you're an employee that's tired of getting wrong checks and errors on your checks because of your timing and things like that, or your time system, you need a sophisticated system. You need an efficient way to manage your employee time. TrakGO is your solution. TrakGO turns an ordinary tablet into a time clock. But not only that, they have a mobile app, they have a web portal, and employees can clock in from anywhere. So it gets even better
Yeah.
because they've automated PTO tracking and they simplified time off requests. It makes your life easier. It makes your payroll and HR folks team easier, and tell them, stop wasting time with this BS paper or the spreadsheet that you're using, whatever it is that's messing up
Yeah.
your time and your paycheck. Get sophisticated and leave those outdated systems alone.
Yeah, for real. Look, TimeTrack has a special offer for it's about your paycheck listeners. Right now, they're offering an additional 50% off your first 2 months. So have those decision makers, whoever's in charge of the cash register at your
That's
company,
right.
or if you have a business, whatever it is, just head over to www.timetrackgo.com/IAP. That's www.timetrakgo.com/IAP to start that 14-day free trial today and claim the special offer. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Nice. You figured it out.
I know.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
No doubt.
All right. So let's
All
get into it.
right, let's get into it. Spending habits then and now, a financial journey. Wow. All right, take us through it. Let's see. How many says man or 7, 2, 3? Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, 4. Goodness.
For a
All
segment,
right.
bro. We're gonna get
Look,
through
you
it.
tell me what you want me to do.
So I'll start with the 80s.
Okay.
And then since I was born in the 80s, I should have done the 70s. You're right around that time. You're closer to. So we're gonna explore like how employees like you and ourselves like spent money in the 80s,
Okay.
90s, and 2000s,
I
and
wasn't spending no money in the 80s though.
yeah, and how our habits
S-
are evolving today and will continue to
Yeah,
into the
no
future.
doubt.
So look, let's get on this fascinating trip of ours. So
I like it.
back in the 80s, right? So the economy was booming back then after a rough start, but inflation was still a problem earlier on back then. Inflation back then was like 13.5% compared
Wow.
to today's rate around 3 to 4%. So that's crazy. So inflation is 3 or 4%, but the prices were still a little bit cheaper back in the 80s. Maybe people didn't feel like that for the money that we're making back then. But look, so spending habits. Go ahead.
Because there's a great opportunity, right? Let's define inflation, because I'm like, all right, I know what it means, but I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
So real quick, it's refers to a sustained increase in the general price of goods and services in the economy, leading to a decrease in purchasing power. So we're going through inflation right now.
Yeah. They said inflation's been going on since like forever. It's happening every year.
But like you said, 13.5% as opposed to
Three
it's
or
only
four.
Now it's only 3 to 4?
Yeah.
That's crazy because it feels high. It feels like it's way higher, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, bro.
But think about it. If the price is always constantly going
Yeah.
up,
Yep.
like even if it's just 3 or 4% every year going up.
Right.
Eventually, think of your Prime subscription. If they
Yep.
went up 3 to 4% every
Oh,
year,
hell no. Damn.
you know what
Yeah,
I'm
that'd
saying?
be crazy.
Yeah. So
That's
it'd be like
true.
that, right?
Wow.
So back then in the 80s, cash was king, like you were speaking to, right?
Yep.
Most people back in the 80s paid with cash or checks. Credit cards existed, but they weren't used that often, right? So only about 60% of US families carried credit card debt
Wow.
in 1983 compared to over
Wow.
40% today.
Yep.
So
Wow.
so
Over
a lot,
40%.
yeah, a lot of the big purchases were back then in the 80s were buying a house, a new car, like new technology like a
VCR.
VCR or cassette players. Man, I used to love that VCR, boy.
Heck yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah.
personal computers hit the market in the 80s. They were
Mhm.
expensive. So
Yep.
IBM's PC back then launched in 1981, and it was about a little almost under $1,600,
Wow.
which would be around $5,300 today.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when adjusted for
Oh,
inflation.
hell no.
So think about it. Another fun fact is that a gallon of gas in 1985 was around $1.12, roughly $3.30 today after adjusting for inflation. So yeah,
Oh,
man. Yeah.
okay. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Look, I think it says something here about it that it was like in the 80s, there was a flashy consumerism that dominated. There was something called the yuppie culture of young urban professionals. They were focused on
Yep.
luxury brands, designer
Yeah.
suits, and showing off success.
Yep.
So that was the
I
80s.
think that still exists.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. Yeah. So
Because I feel like that's like a group of people. Like some people love brands, right?
yes.
Everything has to be a brand name. It can't be
Mhm.
no frills, right? You know what I mean? I don't think they call it yuppie culture anymore, but that still exists, I think. I don't know. I wonder what it could be called today.
Yeah, exactly. So
So
you want to get into the
you want
90s?
me to do the 90s? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do the 90s, sure. So it says, fast forward to the 90s, the age of grunge, the internet, and economic expansion. Between 92 and 2000, the U.S. enjoyed the longest peacetime economic expansion in history.
Yep.
Okay. Spending habits. What happened?
Clinton. Yep.
See? And well, oh my God.
Mhm.
That's exactly what I thought, bro. It's horrible. Oh, man. Okay. The spending habits were a shift to experiences.
Mhm.
Dining out, concerts, vacations became more common as a disposable
Mhm.
income grew. Cell phones emerged in the
Yep.
90s, but only 5 million Americans had a cell phone.
In
But by
1990.
in 1990, thank you.
Okay.
But by 99, it exploded up to 86 million.
Wow.
That is crazy.
How
In
much
9
how much
years.
of a person like how much of a jump is that?
I don't know. You the
So,
numbers guy.
if I divide 86 million divided by that's the one time and then but oof. So that's like almost
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
1,000% Oh my God.
Probably.
Jeez.
Yeah. 90. So where was I in 99? I was 16. No, 99, I had already graduated high school. Yeah. So when I was in high school, I remember getting in trouble with my family because I had a pirated cell phone. You know what that is?
So that means like a hacked in cell phone that was like
Right.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
at the time, they didn't realize that they had to secure these things, right? And it was analog, cellular, and what people were doing was they were tapping into big corporate accounts that had a lot of numbers and a lot of usage. And this is when cell phones were were not unlimited. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Right. And then so if you use minutes, you paid more. So it was back then. But what people were doing were cloning numbers and selling, and like people were selling hot cell phones. So
Wow.
I had a not Microsoft, Motorola flip phone, that flip down one,
Yeah.
not the StarTAC, not the little slim one, but it was before the slim one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hacked. And I paid, I don't know, I think it was like $60 a month
Yep.
but my number had to constantly change.
Yep.
I didn't know any better. And my brothers and my brothers were like, yo, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I got a phone now. And they were like, you can't do that. That's illegal. Like you know what I'm saying? It's a criminal activity. You're involved in criminal activity. I was like, what? What do you mean? No, my boy sold me blah, 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 blah. Right? But anywho, and that was in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So
look,
yeah,
that percentage is over
what is it?
1,700%.
Dang, increase.
Yeah. Increase.
Wow. This was when this is early online shopping began.
In the 90s.
Amazon sold its first book in 95.
Wow.
eBay started in 95 as well. That makes sense because I graduated high school in 96. Yes, folks, when most of y'all were born. But I remember using Amazon for books in college.
Wow.
And because that's how it started, books.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah. What else? And the cultural influence at the time was a lot of branding, Nike, Abercrombie, right? This is after Michael Jordan built Nike, basically, on his back. So now it was blowing up, right?
Yep.
Abercrombie and Fitch is what it was called then. Now it might be just Abercrombie. But Hilfiger definitely dominated New York. Tommy Hilfiger, Timberland, Ralph Lauren, all the what do they call them? Low lives.
Yep.
They call them low lives. And I was like, why are you calling yourself low? No, polo lives.
Yep.
Like that became a whole deal. What else? Technology entered homes really quickly. They said 42% of households had a home computer by 2000. Yeah, that's true. I got my first, I think it was Gateway or Dell. Those were the two big players because I couldn't afford Apple. So Apple was still too expensive. And then there's 42% of households had a computer by 2000 compared to just 15% in 1990.
10 years, bro.
Yeah. And I guess that's why we lived through the digital age. We're seeing explosion, much like how AI is changing the game. And I've heard that recently that AI is being compared to when the internet hit. And a little fun stat, the average new car price in 1990 was $16,950, about $39,000 in today's dollars. Yeah, because that's your entry level for a car. It's $39,000.
Crazy.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep.
So look, I'm going to talk about the 2000s, early 2000s, right? So it's like heading into a new millennium, right?
Yep.
And so 2000s brought
Y2K.
dramatic highs and lows. Yep. The early 2000s had that bubble burst, remember? So then the housing booms, and then finally the Great Recession in 2008. So a lot of the spending habits that occurred in the early 2000s, it was credit cards and easy financing dominated. So by 2008, over 70% of American households had at least one credit card. Lifestyle inflation hit hard. Bigger homes, better cars, and latest electronics were expected, right? So online shopping exploded. Amazon's revenue jumped from 1.6 billion in 1999 to 19 billion by 2008.
Dang. Jeez.
Yeah. So you're talking about 9 years. 9 years, you made an extra almost 20 billion.
Jeez.
18 billion. So subscription services took off. Netflix transitioned from DVD rentals to streaming in 2007.
2007. Wow.
Yeah. And then look, you just talked about that. The cultural
YOLO.
influence. YOLO.
Yep.
You only live once mindset, especially post-recession, encouraged spending on experiences over goods. So here's a shocking stat though. In 2005, Americans' personal savings rate dropped to 1.5%, the lowest since the Great Depression.
Wow.
So that means we were saving less by 2005.
Yeah. I think that we are a consumer society.
Yep.
Right? We consume. We love consuming. Doom spending is the equivalent of shop therapy, which always existed.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/Spotify.
We see these stats. Unfortunately, we're seeing the stats, man.
Yeah.
Not enough. I forget the stat, but not a lot of Americans have at least $1,000 saved as an emergency expense. You should have something saved, right?
Yeah.
So
Just like we saw in the other episode, Coachella, some of them 60%.
Coachella one, people finance the Coachella thing, folks.
Yeah,
like
60%.
And it's crazy because I was listening, like I heard it. I listen to a lot of financial news while I'm working usually and just whatever. And I had heard that before we reported it. I had heard it. And then also like when I go log onto my bank account to look at my statements and transactions, right? I always see, do you want to split it up into multiples? And I'm like, oh, okay. Wow. That's pretty
12
cool.
months, 18 months.
Yeah. Amazon does the same thing. They have, hey, you can pay this purchase over the next 5 weeks or whatever.
You can
And look,
food.
what is it going to be in here? Can I do segment 4?
Yeah,
Last one.
Yeah.
Okay, and I wonder if it's in here. Let me just peek. No, I don't. If it is, I don't see it.
What?
But subscription.
No, there is there.
It's in there.
Look under emerging trends.
Number personal finance, subscriptions everywhere. Perfect. Okay, and we're gonna get to in here.
Yep.
So segment 4. This part is today's spending habits. So today in the 2020s. We live in a fast-changing digital economy, and our spending habits are evolving faster than ever.
Yep.
And it's so spot on because that's what we're talking about, how digital and this and that. Current habits, there we go. Mobile and digital payments. 53% of Americans use digital wallets like Apple Pay or Google Pay. Wow. Half of the American population, right? The other half is probably babies and older people, not even, because I know a lot of savvy senior citizens, but like folks who, because some old folk don't care. Buy now, pay later. Yes, exactly what I'm talking about. Services like Klarna and Afterpay. I never heard of Klarna. I think I heard of Afterpay. Now account for 5% of all online purchases. That's not a lot. That's probably going to skyrocket. Sustainability matters. 62% of Gen Z and millennials prefer to buy from sustainable brands. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
First Insight was from 2003.
So I think that was the resource. First Insight was
First Insight.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. Debt awareness, with student loans topping 1.77 trillion nationally. Goodness gracious. Employees are cautious about taking on more debt. Of course we are. Like, holy moly, you should be. You absolutely should be, right? Folks, credit scores, and my little one asked me the other day, what's a credit score? Or what's credit? And I had to go into, I think, whatever. So we just went into this whole credit and credit score. And I think I did a good job of breaking it down for a 10-year-old. She seemed to understand, but it's important. Like, if you want to be in America and live in America and thrive in America, you should have a good credit score. So anywho, some emerging trends nowadays, personal finance apps, AI budgeting tools are becoming mainstream. I hope that changes the game. It's great to have the tools, but if we don't use them, don't make a difference.
There's always going to be something like, yes, there's going to be tools for us to use, but there's always going to be something that's going to try to distract.
Absolutely.
And pull our funds away from us.
Yep, because we're a consumer economy. We love consuming. Healthcare and elder care spending will rise. The number of Americans age 65 will double by 2060. Oof. Damn. Oh, that's a good amount of time away, but dang.
Yep.
Subscriptions everywhere, as I was just talking about.
Yes.
From food to clothing to car leases, experts project over 45% of consumer spending will be tied to a subscription by 2030.
Dang.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How about a subscription for my grocery?
Yeah.
You know what?
I thought about it with pizza.
You could.
right? Because why not? If
Yeah.
you got the right spot,
But
I would pay
doesn't
for
Domino's
that.
have a subscription or something like that you can have?
They may have. I don't like Domino's, so I wouldn't know for sure. Yeah, I don't really like Domino's. I'll eat it if it's there, but I ain't trying to, like, I would argue with my family. So we found a pizzeria finally that everybody likes.
Nice.
So we got a regular pizzeria. So thank God. But I would totally do a pizza subscription. So there's definitely food. What other food? Oh, I guess there's food subscription. Sure. There's other things. I know So anywho, I believe it. I'm surprised it's not even more now.
Yep.
And it's only going to be 45% by 2030. Shoot. So some future predictions now are a cashless economy. Yup. Fewer than 10% of all purchases may involve cash by 2030.
Ooh,
Yup.
not far.
I believe it. No, not at all. Minimalist lifestyles, less focus on ownership and more on access and flexibility.
Yep.
Yep. I could see that. AI-driven purchasing. Imagine your smart device buying your groceries before you even realize you're low. That makes me think of this comedian that said, "We want everything now. Give it to me before I even want it now."
Yes.
You know what I
Who that
mean?
was. Yes.
You remember, right?
Word.
He's really funny. I gotta forget his name, but that's actually a useful tool, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, if it's because there are things that we buy on, like if you could set it up, hey, put this on the recurring list,
Yep.
that would be easy because my household, like there are some certain things that we always buy. Your staples, I could see that for sure. And yeah, man. So what now, right? What are some thoughts on where we go from now? What can we learn from the evolution of spending habits?
So look, man, like every generation has to adapt. Like we change. Look, we've been a part of this changing,
Yeah,
right? We
we
went
saw
from
it. Yeah.
cash to credit to right.
Yep.
We've been a part of that, right? And
Yeah.
think about that. Some of our future generations, like our kids and their kids, like they might not even know what cash is.
That's true. Oh my gosh, it reminds me of a story. One of our coworkers that we used to have in common told me, I think it was like they left their teenage son, home for the weekend, and he was at driving age, right? And they left him cash, and he had a debit card or something like that, and he went to get gas, but he didn't have enough, or either like for some reason didn't have the card or didn't have enough on it and didn't know how to get gas and just left.
At Capella University, you can learn at your own pace with our FlexPath learning format. Take 1 or 2 courses at a time and complete as many as you can in a 12-week billing session. With FlexPath, you can even finish the bachelor's degree you started in 22 months for $20,000. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu. Fastest 25% of students. Cost varies by pace, transfer credits, and other factors. Fees apply.
Oh, yes.
Right? Because all he knew was pay at the pump, digital card at the pump. He didn't know that you could go inside and give them cash and say 10 on pump 3.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I'm surprised the number is that low. I feel like we're already at a place where cash is going away.
Yeah, no, I still see it. I still see, like, a lot of times I go to the store, I still see people giving out cash. A lot of times the older generation, people giving out cash, but I think most times I see people just putting their phone.
Yep.
That's
Yep. Smart money management is a thought, right?
Yep.
Saving, budgeting, and investing remains timeless.
Yeah.
Because people don't do it. Not a lot of people do it. No, not enough people do it. I think only 30% of America does it, because if 70% live paycheck to paycheck, then we got only 30% actually saving, budgeting, and investing. And I like the key takeaway for employees today.
Yeah.
Spend intentionally, embrace technology carefully, and invest in your future. I really like that. That's dope. That's dope. And that's it, man. That's a very good conversation. I like it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So look, I don't have a question of the day. Just save some dollars, y'all.
That's right. Save money. Yep. Exactly right. So we love you. Reach out, folks. Hit us up we're on Facebook. We're on Facebook at It's About Your Paycheck. We're on IG, right? It's About Your Paycheck.
We're on G.
Now we're on TikTok. It's About Your Paycheck. We're on LinkedIn personally, and then for the payroll one, because that's more for the pros and the payroll pros. We have, I think, right? I don't know if y'all want to be on LinkedIn like that, but we're there anyway and can talk to you about paycheck. Reach out. We're here to help out with your paycheck. If you have questions, if you want to know more about what you should know about your paycheck, you need to think about 4 pillars of your paycheck, right? And I'm going to start saying this every show. 4 pillars of your paycheck: earnings, taxes, deductions, and your net, in that order. Okay, because there is an order of how it gets calculated and what comes out of your check first, right? You got to got money to take from, but taxes come first, then your deductions, and that all equals your net pay. And you need to know everything that's happened on your check. Look at every check. Make sure you know every code that is used and you understand what's going in, what's coming out, right? You don't want to be overpaid and be like, ooh, I'm overpaid, cool. And then, no, they catch up, then it's going to come out and throw you off on your pay. Like, you need to understand everything that's happening in your paycheck, right? The 4 pillars of your paycheck. Yeah. And that's it, folks. We love you. Peace.
Before we sign off, here are a couple quick things. Don't forget to follow It's About Payroll on LinkedIn and It's About Your Paycheck on Facebook and TikTok.
Thank you for being part of our payroll community, and thank you for being a part of this journey with us. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep going.